environmental campaign.
Up next on The Bottom Line, a group of Montgomery County students who are leading the fight for government action on climate change.
There's nothing more urgent than addressing climate change.
We'll introduce you to a young man who is working to help county police officers understand life through his eyes.
My body is jumpy and I don't understand everything that's happening.
Healing childhood trauma. We'll visit a Montgomery County nonprofit that provides treatment for these young victims.
We check every area of her body, too, to make sure that there's no signs of injury.
And we'll see Public Safety Committee member Craig Rice get fired up. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Susan Kenedy. Montgomery County is committed to keeping our environment green, and much of that work to protect our climate comes through the Council's Transportation and Environment Committee. Recently, its chair, Tom Hucker, met with a group of forward-thinking students who have some progressive ideas of their own. It's true, students in Montgomery County are some of the best activists on issues both local and federal.
Sorry, thank you.
Wow, never been out here. This is cool.
So, when Councilmember Tom Hucker received an invitation to visit with members of Blair High School's Sunrise Movement, he knew he had to accept.
Tom.
The Sunrise Movement is a national group of young people uniting to stop the climate crisis.
So, our resolution, it's basically the Montgomery County elected officials around the world have used a future that is not theirs to sell as a political bargaining chip. They have seen that climate change is threatening our future, and they have chosen to quietly take fossil fuel money instead and deny it, ignore it, say they'll do something next year.
Graham and the rest of her group invited Councilmember Hucker.
There's nothing more urgent than addressing climate change.
After reading up on his record on the environment, they discussed what's happening at the national level with climate change, as well as other work the council is doing to keep tabs on work here to protect the environment.
We're doing a big briefing on climate. And we're bringing in our top experts from around the country, multiple agencies. We're bringing in advocates. We're going to have them all sit at the table, and we're going to ask our department heads, what are you doing? And what are your priorities this year, and what are you going to commit to get done?
Hucker has already been working for years at both the state and county level to protect the climate.
In the meantime, we ought to be doing everything possible to pass every good policy in Montgomery County. We've always been leaders. We declared a climate emergency last year. We decided we made a commitment to get to carbon-free by 2035, which is very difficult. And now, as hard as that was to pass, it's even harder to make that happen. And I'm really hoping to partner with these students and other students around the county to get all that legislation passed as part of a sort of Green New Deal for Montgomery County.
Federal government right now just doesn't realize how important it is and how much everyone across the country supports it. So I think the more that they see that individual local governments, including city governments and county councils supported across the country, I think the more likely they are to realize, like, oh yeah, like this is a really big issue. This is, people all across the country care about this. And seeing that youth are the ones who are leading this and organizing and trying to get these resolutions passed, I think that really helps them understand like how big of an issue this is and how much this really affects our future and how much we're paying attention. And we know what they're doing and we can see that they're not acting and we want them to act.
With the goal of preventing unnecessary use of force in the field, Montgomery County Police have put in place a program that better trains officers how to use crisis intervention skills. In this story, we introduce you to one of those trainers who has a powerful message.
I just want to let them know that we are safe, I am protected, I'm loved, and I am doing great work.
It's inspiring when you meet someone
How are you?
who uses their life experience to help others.
I'm the Chief Autism Ambassador for the Montgomery County Police.
Jake Edwards is one of those people.
You're still going to be police officers, but it won't say police on the outside, there'll be police on the inside.
And we'll have cool cars, right?
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Jake is autistic, and he will tell you sometimes he can't help how he feels,
Frustrated, scared.
or reacts. But he has taken that knowledge and self-awareness, and he's using it to train Montgomery County Police as the county's autism ambassador.
I am very lucky to work with Officer Lori to teach you about living autism.
16-year-old Jake began his work with police after an incident 4 years ago when he accidentally locked himself out of his house on a cold winter day.
I got to the car, I went inside, I forgot it was cold outside. So I went out and ran and yelled, "Help, help, help." The neighbors didn't know that I was joking around or not. So they called 911. And 2 of the officers were nice. One of them was pretty intense, pretty angry.
What did his face look like when he was angry?
He looked a little mad, like.
Yeah, serious face,
And what did that do to you?
Kind of freaked me out. Nice to meet you.
After that experience, Jake and his mom, Jen, met up with Montgomery County Police Officer Lori Reyes, who runs the county's Autism and Alzheimer's outreach program. When she met Jake, she knew he was special and had a message that would resonate with her officers. When he was 13 years old, Officer Reyes named Jake the police department's official autism ambassador. Since becoming the autism ambassador, Jake has trained more than 2,500 officers about autism.
My body is jumpy and I don't understand everything what's happening. That causes me to make quick decisions without realizing what could happen next.
The training is kind of part of the multi-layered approach. So education, outreach, follow-up, empowerment, and response. So the training piece, the education piece, it starts with the officers, but it's really gone to the individual, to the caregiver, and to the community. But starting with the officers has really created this culture of awareness that begins with us, begins with a police officer who's educated.
She said, that he has such a message. I think it was when he said he can't help it if he lies. Like he can't always tell the truth. Mm-hmm. And if you're scared, wouldn't you say anything to get out of it, right? And when he said it, she just was like, oh my goodness, my people need to know that.
How you doing? How's everything? Really good. Good.
Councilmember Craig Rice has been following Jake Edwards since he started his work as ambassador.
He truly is a champion and a person who's an agent of change here in Montgomery County. I'm going to give you my pen. I want to share this with you. I oftentimes do this for leaders in our community. I want you to wear that with pride, all right? He's making a true difference when it comes to sharing his story about the challenges that he faces every day and making sure that other people that are like him don't have to experience those same kinds of challenges as well. It truly is something that we tout as remarkable for everyone who becomes one of those agents of change.
And don't be surprised when this young man is the first person with a disability to run for president.
God bless America, guys!
The Treehouse of Montgomery County is dedicated to reducing trauma and promoting healing for child victims of physical and sexual abuse and neglect. Here's more on the work of this nonprofit that brings hope to hundreds of county children. There are more than 3 million children who are the victims of child abuse on an annual basis. It's an astonishing statistic. Here in Montgomery County, there is help for those young victims. The Treehouse Child Advocacy Center works to keep children safe from abuse.
I start with the children and they do open up to me. And I feel very
Dr. Evelyn Shukat is the medical director of the center. She says the children come to them through many different avenues.
Most of them are recommended by Child Protective Services or Special Victims Investigations Division from the police department. But many times local pediatricians all know about us. And this is a medical specialty.
We are going to give you the opportunity to walk through the treehouse like a child does when they are brought here by the authorities for the services that we offer.
The Treehouse provides medical, forensic, and advocacy services as well as mental health therapy.
Children are afraid to disclose most of the time, so this gives them an opportunity to talk with me. I never wear a white coat. I spend at least 2 hours with each child.
Because from her interview, I know that she loves the Emoji Movie, I am ready. So I let her know that she's going to put her special gown on.
And then they come and get examined.
Dr. Shukat does a nose-to-toes exam.
And they know immediately about their bodies.
We check every area of her body, too, to make sure that there's no signs of injury or scarring from her physical punishment.
And if necessary, for any safety concerns, ranging from sending them right to the hospital, if they're acutely suicidal or need advanced medical treatment that I cannot provide in this office.
Councilmember Gabe Albornoz chairs the council's Health and Human Services Committee. He says you can't put a price tag on the work the Treehouse Center does.
Treehouse is really a one-stop shop. It provides an opportunity for the children and their families to receive the kind of care that they need to help them work through this very traumatic process, but also to help ensure that we bring those that have perpetrated these terrible crimes to justice.
And finally, as a member of the Public Safety Committee, Councilmember Craig Rice recently rode along with members of a Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Services crew to experience what a typical evening on the job entails.
What's your phone number? Just in case we need to call you when we get there. All right, we'll be out shortly.
What was that about?
Lady has a smoke alarm going off.
And the person actually can't reach it. And so what we want to do is continue to promote folks using smoke detectors and having a working one. So certainly want to assist the community and make sure that they've got a smoke detector that's hooked up that's going to work for them. So it'll be interesting. It should be fun.
You do it in the bedroom.
It's bolts and seals.
Where do you notice it down here? It's going to be up there.
That's good.
We're just going to set it down there on the floor, though.
We have to get a new one?
You're supposed to replace them at 10 years to the new 10-year batteries.
Built in 2000.
October of 2000. So this one's 19 years old.
Okay.
So they all need to be replaced.
Okay.
This is our safety in the neighborhood smoke detector replacements. We walk into any house on any EMS call, we make sure everybody has a smoke detector. And for safety's sake, we'll put this back up because it's an electric smoke detector. We're going to put it back up, but we highly recommend you immediately get the new ones. Ladders are amazing.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
Those ladders are great.
Okay, appreciate it. I appreciate you coming.
Have a good night. You're very welcome.
We have a lot of clearance issues in Montgomery County and how a fire truck won't fit down through here.
Yeah, that's
it's
impossible.
Made for it. It's 10 feet wide. Our fire trucks are 9'6" wide. Will it fit? Yes. Can you make the turn and rub the tires going around and pop a tire on one of the curbs? Yes, you can.
So, comes in a couple little pieces, so.
The Lucas device. Every single fire truck should have one.
And then as soon as we're ready, you click it, and it'll start doing compressions.
That's amazing. You start to put things in perspective and start to understand why it is that we do the things that we do. Because we have to make tough decisions, right, all the time about budgetary and what's going to happen. And so it's really important to be able to understand what those impacts might mean. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've brought up about issues from my ride-alongs and why that justifies us doing. Because folks need to know, and this is why we have to have as many units as we do. If they're having to do this or do that, it's like all those kinds of things you don't think about when you just see a number on a page, right? And so if you have more than just that number on a page and what it means.
It's pretty much a quick IV bag.
When you can understand how much an engine costs and why it costs the way it does.
The issues we have now with our fire apparatus, we ride around in the fire truck's 10 years old. It's beautiful. It looks great. Everybody thinks it looks beautiful.
Right.
And it's wearing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2008 with 123,000 miles. And in the middle of the night, sometimes it won't start.
Right. Those kinds of things that help us to make better decisions, right? Because the majority of people have no idea.
Warning for smoke in the area. 14,911 Berryville Road.
A lot of times we get these calls. It's a very common call. It's usually by a passerby. Our job is to go out there and investigate and try to figure out where the smoke is coming from.
I believe we have a campfire, which is illegal at this time of year. And it's almost out. If it's not out, we'll help it put it out.
High conditions that we have.
It's not good, especially unmanned. Correct. Right. It's very dry right now. The humidity's low, and that allows brush fires to excel.
We have our firefighters out here using a brush rake and using some pressurized water. So we still have some embers, so we're trying to put those out right now.
Like I said,
It was out near Poolsville, burning some shrubs, and unfortunately, we don't allow that because it could cause brush fires, especially at a time like this where the humidity is at an all-time low.
You did it.
How was he spraying the water?
Hey, you know what? Probably the second best I've ever seen. Our fire chief is a little better, a little more guided, but he did very good for his first time out on a true emergency.
Be the first to congratulate the councilman.
I spoke to him.
Nice job, man. That's good. Okay.
Well, that does it for this edition of The Bottom Line. For County Cable Montgomery, I'm Susan Kenedy. Thanks for watching.